I'm just going to go over the quiz real quick. I'm not going to spend too much time on each question. I'm just going to kind of emphasize some of the things that I saw that maybe need some clarifying. If you want like the full marks when I ask a question, right? So when it came to the Venn diagram, make sure that there are no doubles, right? Like if a set, some of you had the 12 in C, but then the 12 also showed up in A, so you have a double. That's a red flag. You shouldn't have doubles. And technically C was a subset of A. You know what? I actually will check this, but some of you made a big circle like a third set here, but you had nothing in those sections. So I was all right with that. But if you put like 0 in there, now you're saying that 0 is part of that set. That's not right. So, and some of you were forgetting about your outliers, so make sure you have everything in there, okay? And not B, that's the complement, right? So also another thing is if you add up all the elements, you should end up with 15. Some of you would have more than 15 or less, or right, like that's a check. And so not B, right, is 10 numbers or elements do not belong to set B. Some of you were so specific and said they're not multiples of 3. I actually like that answer. Within the context, if you can do that. The union, this is just universal minus the outliers. You could have also just figured this out by adding your elements in there. I honored it if you had made a mistake up here, but if I could actually count the elements and it matched yours, you would still get the marks here. C is a subset of A, yes, because all elements are in C are also in A, not they share, because sharing just means they're joined. Subset means all of them are part of the other one. The shading, some of you were not including the middle here. So union is everything, right? All 3 sections in a sense. That's the union, not including the outliers. The last 3 I wanted within the context, but I was a little, if you showed me you understood, I still give you either partial marks or in some instances full marks. But it's basically chocolates that do not contain nuts. It's everything, but don't say only dark chocolate because technically outliers are also part of this, right? The complement could be anything that does not contain nuts. That's what you're after. The intersection, you know what? I was actually quite happy with most of your responses. You were bang on. But N and D is have both nuts and dark chocolate within the situation. Some of you were using set theory definitions, which is, it got you close enough. Union refers to chocolates that have at least one of them, right? It's the union, right? So at least one of them, nuts or dark chocolate. That's the best wording there. Some of you said have nuts or dark chocolate or both. That was also a very good response, okay? Because they could have both. Here, the best way to check, guys, is if you can add the numbers. I just added like these two, and it's bigger than your universal, you know that there's an overlap, right? If they hadn't been overlapping, then technically if you add up the sets, it gives you the universal, including the outliers. So that's the best way to quickly check that. Most of you did this very well. I'm not worried about this. Some of you just need to make sure the numbers go in the right place. This was 3 days, and we had 15 days. This is the proper notation. If it says at least one fish, right, it's either like it's the union basically between the two. This was done well overall. Some of you, I think, did not see the little outlier like the knot. Some of you put 39 here, it's supposed to be 1, so we were getting there. The 4, like this C, but not Twitter, right? It meant nothing to do with Twitter, so you just want the 4. I gave you feedback. I give you quite a bit of feedback there, so you should know what the right answers are. I will say that 6 and 7, overall, I'm very happy. Some of you just made some mistakes, uh, but overall, just make sure you take your time. Some of you are making mistakes when you subtract, right? So you gotta make sure you do this right. And the last one, I think you were lucky that that this question came up for homework check, right? So some of you just capitalized on that. So that's the way to go, guys. Um, I should have said no. I'm not answering that one because it's too close to the quiz. But that's okay. Sometimes, why not, right? Why not? So overall, I was very happy. This was a mix between type 2 and type 3, so you got to watch out. I did give you the intersection for one. The other ones you had to kind of you had to actually come up with an expression for the intersection, right? So, and if you add up all your numbers, guys, all your numbers should add up to the universal. If you can't get that, go back, right? That's a the best way to check your work is add up all the sections, including the outliers. If it doesn't amount to the universal, you got to go back, right, and check what did I do wrong. Okay. Good job.